So I don't know that 1 in a million Americans has ever heard really anything you just said, or certainly not heard it fleshed out in the way that you just did. And yet, when you hear it, it makes sense and it's clearly true. So that raises the question about our information, the integrity of our information sources, and why aren't we hearing this from the press, from the media? I don't understand that.
Well, I think there's a party line right now in the media, if you haven't noticed, and this, I think, does not support the security state's thesis about how safe the current administration has made us in the world, right? And when you look at the economy versus stability, 4 years ago and now, it is just absolutely clear that we should be talking about the fact that the world has been set on fire over the last 4 years, and yet it's really not front and center in our news at all, with the exception of the Middle East, which gets, I think, pretty slanted coverage. So
oh, you think?
Having come through 2 years of the RFK campaign, I will tell you, it is, it's truly amazing to me to what degree a media blackout really can be coordinated and be successful.
Tell us, what was your experience?
It was clear to me pretty early on that, if you were someone who had heard from Bobby, then you were someone who was at least considering voting for him. And many of those people, were very clear that he should be the next president of the United States. So you're either somebody who had heard from Bobby, or you were somebody who had heard about Bobby, right? From your cable news source or from your newspaper and so on. And you begin to realize when you're on the inside of the receiving end of all of that, is that every place, anything that you know about this election, you know about it because you have read, heard, or seen it on a platform that has a commercial interest in the outcome of the election, right? You look at Google, hundreds of millions of dollars in pharmaceutical ad revenue, billions of dollars in pharmaceutical ad revenue, that Bobby said in his very first speech when he announced for president that he would bring us in line with the rest of the world by banning pharmaceutical advertising on TV. What business do you know that is going to give fair coverage to somebody that could cost them billions of dollars a year in their business model? It's not in their fiduciary interest. And it's the same, we see it with certainly all the cable news channels who are also reliant on pharmaceutical advertising. And then, the reliance, Bobby's determination to cut excess military funding when so many of these media companies have board entanglements or common ownership with defense contractors, or are themselves. You look at Amazon Web Services and the Washington Post and, GE and NBC and so forth. There's a long history of that.